Hello. In this video I'll be discussing two problems that plague FusionFall Retro, namely the uselessness of taros and the devaluation of grindable items. I'll explain my solution, which I believe to be a fun way how to fix these problems, and I'll take a look back at Retro's previous updates to see how easy this idea would be to implement. At the end of the video, I'll give my thoughts on how the idea could be progressed if it does end up being added into the game. So let's get into it. Taros are Retro's version of an in-game currency that you earn as a reward from defeating monsters or completing missions. In most games that have implemented money, it becomes one of the main things in the game that you are meant to struggle to gain more of to use for various items or benefits. In Retro, that is not the case. Any weapon or armor that store NPCs try to sell you is the worst possible thing you can use, with you quickly and easily gaining better loot from fighting monsters, which you do constantly. NPC-wise, the only things you will spend money on is using transportation, buying vehicles, or refilling your potions and gumballs if you're a real gamer. All this, however, costs minimal amounts of taros, and I estimate that a casual player would be able to easily go from level 1 to level 36 using around 100,000 taros. The reality is that after you complete all of the missions and reach the end, you're left with over 1,000,000 taros. So what do you do with them? This ties into the second problem. Since there's nothing major the game offers you to spend your taros on, a big group of people since the start of FusionFall itself have pursued trading of items amongst each other. It has always been successful to an extent, however, Retro ran into a problem. Unlike the original game, where the drop rates for getting ultra rares were soul-crushing, Retro has them raised so that even casual players could feel the OG glory of AFKing in Mount Blackhead wearing the same exact rares as everyone around them. That in itself wasn't that bad, until people discovered how to multi-box in Retro. Multi-boxing means playing as several different characters at the same time. In Retro, it is most effectively used when grinding for items, where you can create a group of 4 characters who each get a crate from a monster any member of the party defeats. This takes the already higher chances of getting rare items and quadruples them, because you now get 4 times more crates to open in the same amount of time. This is the reason why multi-boxing can be considered a form of cheating, but it roams free as it is hard to stop. This disastrous rate of gaining items, coupled with the fact that Retro has a small player base, has created a huge supply of items with a very low demand. The abusers of multi-boxing thereby can easily acquire multiple copies of each item they want, while most of the other people are smart enough to think that there isn't really that much to do in the game anyway, so they might as well just go grind the items themselves, instead of spending their money and logging off. This has created an eternal battle between the traders who want new grindable items added, and the devs who lose motivation, seeing that each new item they do add becomes worthless in the eyes of these traders after just a few weeks. So, how do we solve these problems of taros being nearly useless and items being nearly worthless? You might already have noticed the connection, but let's go into detail. To solve these issues, we have to look to our old friend, the egger. Eggers are NPCs that sell you eggs, which when opened give you an item. You can buy 4 different grades of an egg, each one increasing your chances of getting a higher rarity item, with the super duper egg pretty consistently giving you just rares and ultra rares. This is an okay design, but it falls short because of several problems. The items contained in these eggs can also be acquired from monsters without spending a dime. The prices of the eggs themselves are very cheap as well, with the most expensive egg from Forsaken Valley being priced at 9,500 taros. These small prices on even the best eggs make the ultra rares in them be very easy to attain, and even in the most ideal scenario, be only worth that pitiful 9.5k, while eggs in other areas are even more cheap. Not to mention the items themselves aren't exactly the most good looking. That's a lot of negatives, but the foundations of something great are there. The important thing we need from this is the gray egg and nothing else. This egg has a high chance to give a common item, a slightly smaller chance to give an uncommon item, a small chance to give a rare, and a very small chance to give an ultra rare item. So if you could only buy this egg, those ultra rares would definitely take a while to find. This is the first step. However, we are currently redesigning eggers. While it might be a good way to make them used again, I've heard that the devs would rather scrap the eggers altogether than redesign them. So let's distance ourselves from them. Instead of the egger, we'll use another long-lost friend, the mysterious vendor. This NPC was already removed from the game because its previous gimmick became too hard to upkeep, so I'll freely give him a new use. Let's transfer over the gray egg to its store, but instead of an egg, we'll use the equivalent of it, a gray crate. Now, there are two things left to fix. No monsters can drop the items of this crate, so that the only way to get them is to buy them, and the price of the crate will be bumped up to, in this case, 50,000 taros. Put some new items in the drop pool of that crate, and give it a catchy name like the mystery crate. That's it, we're done, crisis has been averted. Alright, let's take a step back and see what this actually has done. The way you grind items is by spending an amount of time killing monsters for a chance to get them. You can see the problem that traders struggle with in that sentence. You spend time to get items. So all the items anyone gets are worth time, not taros. Their economical worth has only been something imaginary, fluctuating, and nowadays something that has gone completely haywire. But now, if you're required to spend 50,000 taros to get these new items, each item will unconditionally be worth at least those 50,000. You would be trading them to others at a loss if you sold them for any lower than that. What we essentially have done is make time be equal to taros. Your usual process doesn't change. You still grind monsters, possibly even grinding for some other neat item that they drop, but this time you're also grinding for money. So now, in addition to the monster crates, you can go spend your taros by trying your luck at some mystery crates. Now let's crunch some numbers. While a regular gray crate has a 1 in 100 chance to drop an ultra rare, we will for now go with a 1 in 20 chance to be realistic, although this number is up for debate. I don't know the usual chances for everything that isn't an ultra rare dropping from a great crate, but I'll make up some temporary chances for the mystery crates for the sake of explanation. The common items will have their price be capped at 50,000 or below, as people will rather try their luck with the crate, knowing that in worst case scenario, they will get a common item anyway. However, an uncommon item will already be something neat. Let's say that the chance to get an uncommon is 1 in 3 crates. That item can now be sold for up to 150,000 taros, as that is the average amount of money someone would spend to get an item of that rarity. The real price, though, would stagnate somewhere between the price of the previous item rarity, 50,000 and 150,000. As lucky people who get it first crate would still be happy to sell it to you for 80k, for a neat little profit. Rares and ultra rares would be the good stuff. If the chance to get a rare is 1 out of 8, then that rare can be worth up to 400,000 taros. And the jackpot ultra rares of the mystery crate with a chance of 1 in 20 would be worth up to 1 million taros. You again have to take into account the price averaging out to be lower, but still that's a lot of money for little Timmy to luck out and gain from spending 50k on one crate. The only thing I'm not sure about is whether it would be better to release the chances of how hard it is to get each item rarity to the public so everyone knows what the approximate value of each item should be, or not to save the chances and let the prices be dictated purely by personal experience and popularity. Leave your thoughts in the comments, I'll be very interested to hear them. This leads me into the bonus side effect of this solution. The game currently has its own top 1% of players whose total taros are counted in the tens, if not hundreds of millions of taros. By introducing mystery crates, there will be an opportunity for these people to get unlucky and lose big sums of money, while more casual players can get lucky and make a huge profit. It will be the biggest random redistribution of wealth, which would to an extent level the playing field and would be a very interesting breath of fresh air. To sum up, introducing buyable crates will create a good use for taros and create a set of items with stable prices, while also leveling the playing field of wealth. We are essentially introducing loot boxes which have worked very well in countless games, except retros wouldn't be as morally ambiguous as kids can't spend real money on them. Alright. Theory is theory, but how possible is it for the devs to actually implement these crates into the game? Well, it might surprise you, but they already have implemented this exact type of store I described, twice. The first instance of it was the Halloween 2018 event. Dracula appeared selling pumpkin crates for 20,000 taros a crate. In this period of time, where the vast majority of people were still not level 36, this was a big amount of money you needed to spend to get the rare items from these crates. Combined with the fact that it was a limited time event, these would have been long-lasting, rare, and expensive items. But the vendor turned out to be a complete scam. The pumpkin crates dropped from monsters and dropped very often, so this crate did not meet the requirements. The second instance of it was the Easter 2019 event. The Easter Egger sold eggs that gave you exclusive Easter items. Again, good on a surface level, but not quite there yet, because the price of the eggs was only 2,000 taros, and every single item you got was an ultra rare. So implementing these mystery crates is more than possible. The devs just need to do the same thing as they've done before, with slight adjustments that can make this idea come true. I explained everything about the idea in the previous sections of the video, and what follows now will just be my speculations. Please treat them with a grain of salt and not as a part of the core idea, but instead something that we can discuss if this idea actually gets added into the game. So, if the mystery crates do work out without any major hitches, this is how I think more could be gained from that. For them to work, I propose that they contain somewhere around 50 new or unreleased items. I know that it might seem a lot compared to a few grindable ultra rares each update, but I believe that these items, having a stable price and taking way longer to get, will have a much stronger impact and traction around them for a longer period of time. Some people have suggested that the crates could have a lot of junk items in them, so it would be harder to get the good items. But I think that while the common items should still have way less effort spent on them, each item you get should be something unknown that you can equip and try out. If more often than not you just get junk that you've already seen before in previous updates, then people will just associate these crates with disappointment. This is to say that in my opinion, devs could release a new mystery crate only every few months without too much backlash. What I mean by new mystery crates is that once in a while they could introduce a crate with a new set of items in it. The crates could be Cartoon Network show themed or something else fun. But the point is that each new crate would be a much more hyped event than a few grindables, while also taking less effort to set up than a full update that would garner similar hype. This is the end of the video. I hope I got my idea across in a more interesting way than a long forum post. My one wish is that the devs could consider adding this loot box system into the game, as I currently feel like it's the best thing available. I'm sorry if I sound dead inside, it's because I got a cold a few days ago but didn't want to put off this video, as I finished writing the script on the same day. This is also my first commentary/essay type video, so let me know whether you enjoyed this style of video at all, and if you have any suggestions on how I could improve, then leave them in the comments.